Hey everyone! You're watching Whispers of Turkish Stars, and this one is a whirlwind. Settle in, because the latest chatter has the industry on edge, and the timing, just days before the new year, couldn't be more dramatic. An acclaimed astrologer has thrust Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel into the center of the conversation with a reading that hints at a life-altering shift. What's got everyone buzzing is the bold claim that by 2026, their story might include a new addition to the family. That's right, while no one is declaring anything outright, the suggestion hangs in the air, and you can feel how it changes the silence between every sentence people say about them. This astrologer, known for confidently reading cosmic patterns, shared on a program that she dissected the birth charts of Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel in depth. She said the planetary alignments were especially loud around themes of children, home, and a grounded sense of belonging. Her remark: "These influences don't always mean marriage news or the arrival of a baby, but here the emphasis is extraordinary," brought a hush to the studio, the kind of hush where even whispers sound like secrets cracking open. Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel, whose easy camaraderie on a television set reportedly matured into a quiet, real partnership, have been a favorite subject of the tabloids for months. They never perform their private moments for the cameras, they know how to draw the curtain. But fans notice. They notice the small frames of time when Barış slips out of publicity and Yağmur chooses stillness over spotlight. They notice the simple posts, the unhurried pace, the hush of their shared spaces. Lately, the pair's quieter rhythm has been read as a sign, one that seems to pulse louder since that astrologer's voice entered the room. According to her, the energetic doorway opening with the new year marks a turning point for both. In her words, the thread of motherhood appears to be weaving more strongly through Yağmur's chart, while responsibility and family stability are highlighted in Barış's. She didn't frame their connection as a fleeting romance, she called it a shared path with depth. A union that matures across seasons instead of chasing the applause of the moment. She went even further: a decision taken next year could reroute their trajectory entirely. You could feel the gossip pages shiver at that one. As the clip gained traction, social media split right down the middle. Some loved the forecast and flooded the comments with early congratulations and soft wishes, as if the future could be nurtured into being just by kindness alone. Others rolled their eyes at the idea of predicting such an intimate step. But if you look closely, the loudest chorus of support says the same two things over and over. Seeing them together is enough, and as long as they're genuinely happy, the rest will fall into place when it's meant to. Among Yağmur Yüksel's admirers, debate flares every time someone mentions timelines. She's been carving her path with measured focus, and some wonder whether she would choose to shoulder a new responsibility during a year so pivotal to her momentum. On the other hand, many argue that balance isn't a myth for people who are methodical and sincere, and if anyone can walk both routes without losing herself, it's her. And now the part that keeps the speculation alive: neither has addressed the astrologer's words. No confirmation, no denial, no clever winks, no playful deflections from Barış Baktaş or Yağmur Yüksel. Just that steady, respectful quiet the two of them lean on when the noise outside grows too sharp. Silence is an answer of its own in the world of show business, and right now, their silence is the loudest thing they've said in weeks. The timing, so close to New Year's, makes it impossible to ignore. Whether the planets hold a revelation or just reflect the hope people place on beginnings, this claim has pushed the couple back into the hottest circle of attention. Will the prediction come true? No one can know. But one thing is certain. For a while, every shared glance, every uncaptioned photo, every choice to step away from a party and toward a calmer evening will be read like a paragraph in a bigger story waiting to be revealed. As the astrologer's message traveled from timeline to timeline, new whispers gathered shape. Friends of the couple, those who understand their rhythms, say that in recent months Barış and Yağmur have chosen smaller rooms, softer nights, and closer circles. They've skipped the grand halls and slipped into evenings with family. In conversations with people she trusts, Yağmur is said to bring up the idea of being ready for a new chapter. Meanwhile, Barış has reportedly shifted his language toward planning, not abstract dreams, but practical steps, calendars, and a long view. Those details are a steady tinder for the flame of curiosity. There's more. Sources close to the pair say they're mapping out a short, private trip before the new year hits. Not a lavish escape to be photographed, but a secluded place where the days belong only to them. The word drifting through gossip circles is that this won't be a typical holiday. It would be a reset, a pause, maybe even a promise without a script, a moment in which they can hold the weight of their decisions without any eyes on them. The suggestion alone that the trip could serve as a prelude to something larger has people refreshing their feeds like it's a habit they can't break. And then there are the memories resurfacing from earlier days, snippets of backstage notes, brief messages on birthdays, the kind of small gestures that look like simple kindness until you place them in a pattern. During their days side by side as colleagues, their balance and willingness to lift each other have been noted more than once. Back then, they kept their answers vague and let the questions fade. Now, with the astrologer's timing, those moments are being revisited, reframed as breadcrumbs that always pointed to now. Watch closely and you'll notice a shift in the way both of them carry their days. Yağmur has gravitated toward a pared-down style, not a statement, just a choice, and her nights out have narrowed to the people who know her well. Barış, too, has grown inward in the quietest, most grounded way, spending free hours under the same roof as his family and closest confidants. Together, that's how a foundation looks, not loud, not hurried, not built for show. It reads like a prelude to a decision that matters more than the applause. After the astrologer spoke, fans began assigning meaning to every frame and caption. A walk in the hills. A morning light through a window. A photo that looks like it breathes. Thoughtful emojis, a single word, a song lyric without a tag, all of it getting parsed as a code for a beginning. It's become a little game between audience and image, one the couple never asked for but somehow always navigates with grace. In particular, the serenity that seems to float off of Yağmur's recent posts has been splashed across entertainment pages, which only amplifies what the most devoted fans already felt. Of course, there are industry voices who say that star maps can put pressure on human hearts. A proclamation like this might corner a couple into living on someone else's schedule, they argue. And yet, the very reason people admire Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel is the way they move against pressure, not with it. So the prevailing expectation is that they'll continue exactly as they are, listening to each other, protecting their timeline, keeping the sacred parts of their story out of the hands of strangers. Some interpret their restraint as a sign that they won't dignify every rumor with a reply. Others say the timing just isn't right to speak, especially if decisions are still tender and private. Either way, the choice to sit inside the quiet together feels intentional. As if they understand that what's whispered about them isn't half as important as what's promised between them when the room finally empties. All roads circle back to the same question: is this the year their path changes shape? The astrologer planted the thought, but even if the sky is a storyteller, it isn't the author. Time is the only witness that counts. Until then, the curious will keep collecting clues, and the two at the center will keep deciding how much to show and how much to hold. Those closest to the production crew where their bond first took root remember how easily they worked together. No grand gestures. Just two professionals with a quiet rhythm, trading lines, and trust. It's details like those. Small, almost invisible, that fans cling to when they pull the past into the present. And now, the story is being edited again, with this new year tipped like a coin in the light. There's also talk that the holiday trip may include a handwritten note exchanged, a ritual that belongs only to them, a way of promising without saying it out loud. No one knows whether they'll come back with a decision made, or simply with a deeper certainty that their next step has to be made when the world is looking elsewhere. Either way, it feels like preparation more than escape, like they want to arrive at the new calendar ready to carry whatever comes next. The fascination isn't just with the idea of family, it's with how they might redefine it on their terms. Supporters imagine a future grounded in balance, where schedules bend but never break, where work remains a canvas and home becomes the frame. Skeptics argue that predictions lead to disappointment. But what's undeniable is the tenderness with which people talk about them. Even the speculation is softened by a reverence you don't always see in this business. If you scroll back through their milestones, you'll see what looks like a blueprint for careful growth. Slow steps. Pauses that read like breath, not hesitation. Choosing opportunities that build rather than burn. The energy around them now feels like a continuation of that pattern, steady, deliberate, unhurried, and deeply personal. A decision taken in that spirit, whenever it comes, will likely feel less like a shock and more like something that was always underway. For now, every hour between today and the first day of the year adds a bit more electricity to the air. The thought of a secluded place, of days without agendas, of conversations that reach the parts of life you can't plan in public, that's what keeps this rumor alive. Not spectacle, not scandal, just the idea that two people might be on the cusp of making their private world even more real. So we watch, but gently. We wait, but we don't demand. And we remember that the most meaningful stories unfold in rooms that cameras never find. Whether the astrologer's map mirrors their truth or merely echoes our hopes for them, the next chapter belongs to Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel alone. When they're ready, they'll let us see the edges. Until then, we honor the quiet they've chosen and the care with which they hold each other's futures. You've been watching Whispers of Turkish Stars. If this story moved you, subscribe and share so you don't miss what comes next. We'll be here when the new year arrives, listening for the soft sound of a door opening on a life they are writing together, one deliberate step at a time. And if the night sky is asking its questions too, we'll be the first to tell you which answers finally arrive, and which ones were just the spark that kept everyone warm while we waited for the sun.